I ended up voting for Trump in 2024. I'm not.
What? Yeah. This is not my viewer. Get out of my audience. Get out of my audience ASAP. This is not my viewer. This is not my viewer. Get out of my audience. What the fuck? I didn't know this. I feel so betrayed.
A Republican. I registered, I guess, the beginning of 2024 as an independent.
Egghead, she's married, number one. And number two, you said that you would date IRL. Number three, okay? I don't know, like, fuck.
That was my
Stop
first,
being
like,
horny.
official step away from the Democratic Party. I was calling myself a disaffected liberal for a while, and I think that's kind of a good way to encapsulate how I felt. But I see myself as basically having fallen in this center.
Doesn't matter.
When I talk to people on the left,
destroy her immediately.
Right wing, and when I talk to people on the right, they tell me shit live. So I don't know. I'm politically homeless. I'm not MAGA. I'm not a Trump supporter. So
okay, I thought this was gonna be boring. I thought this was just gonna be like a panel of liberals discussing with other liberals on what to do. That's extremely boring to me. Extremely boring. If I want to watch a quality piece of content like that, do you know what I would do? I would watch Ezra Klein, okay? I would watch Ezra Klein content. I would not watch this, okay? I'd watch anyone else, alright? But whatever this shit is, oh hell no, brother! What the fuck The fuck you mean you voted for Trump? What the fuck? Unacceptable! Okay.
So this is maybe not going to be as fun.
Stop. You give her too much credit.
But I'm open to answer any questions. I'm sure there's lots of things that I haven't thought about.
I'm not a Trump voter. I'm not MAGA. Die!
I hope to be a pleasant conversation, at least at some
Plus, you're a
point,
woman. You're a white woman, okay? I'm racist and misogynist
like
and homophobic and transphobic.
At the very least,
and anti-Jewish.
I don't think you need to be pining for my vote in any way. You guys are all committed to Democrats succeeding, maybe so that especially that Trump will fail. And so at least maybe I can impart to you one example.
Oh my god, no wonder Wick wants to do like a fucking, like a shared show with her, okay? It's because Wick's penis thinks more than his brain, okay? That's what's going on, okay? Wick loves to sit in the cuck chair while he gets on people like Lav, and he never gets to like slip into their DMs, or he gets on people like Pixie, but then Lonerbox takes Pixie instead. Wick, stop letting your penis do the thinking for you, okay? Stop this immediately. Look at the chat, lol. Bernie to MAGA pipeline. On God, for real. She's a comment. Tally, where the fuck are you? Tally, where the fuck are...
Someone who was pushed away from the party
I'm
for
spurging
various
out.
reasons.
I'm spurging out in the server chat.
Winning the upcoming election.
I'm spurging. I'm losing it.
If I may, just
actually,
real quick, kind of to almost piggyback on that. One of the things that I want to do with my show and with my advocacy and with my politicking is find people who we lost and who are winnable again, who we can bring back. And I've been talking to Tolly for a while, and I
wait, excuses. You would never do this with a man, period. Okay, next. What's the next topic? You would never do this with a man, Wick, okay?
I think she's someone that has real issues,
my God.
Right, that deserve to be heard. And I think she's winnable back. Like, we can get her back, and people like her back. She's representative, in my mind,
Wick,
of a class of people that if we take the right steps, we can get them back, and we need to win.
Stop! We bash Richard Hanania to this day. Why do you think we make fun of Richard Hanania so much? It's because he's generally considered to be an extremely smart person. But he's just like a fucking... You're not smart anymore if you vote for Trump, okay? It's really as simple as that.
Look at what Trump's doing, right? He's gutted USAID.
I would respect the grifter more,
millions of people, right? Millions of deaths because of that. We're looking at an attack on the First Amendment greater than anything we've seen in a generation. We're looking at this god-awful, big, beautiful bill that's going to just gut Medicaid and a lot of harm. So we have to win. And to do that, we have to win people back. People that have, for whatever reason, switched from Biden to Trump. We have to figure out why they.
Listen, Richard has very, very slowly won me over, but his recent posts about like hot Asian women all the time. I'm sorry, okay? Get that cringe off of my TL, okay? Get that cringe off of my TL. I don't want to see it, okay? I'm sorry.
Did that. We have to hear them out, and we have to see which ones we can win back. And I think Tali's a good example. So that's why I'm advocating for her. So yeah.
I want to piggyback on that too. I think like Wick represents one kind of viewpoint within the left of like who should we be trying to win, where should the focus of the coalition be. And I'm like, not to burst Wick's bubble because he's my buddy and my co-host, but I think it would be a fair conclusion for all of you to conclude that you shouldn't spend time winning me back. I think what I've come to realize is while I'm dispositionally a liberal, you know, you are the type of people I'd rather be hanging out with. I feel like there are some fundamental.
Please don't tell me. Please don't tell me that she's one of these people that's like, oh, I voted for Trump because the liberals and the progressives are too cringe. Please, for the love of God, I can't handle it. I just can't. I'm sorry. If I hear anything related to that, I will actually actively lose it. I will lose my marbles. I will actually lose my marbles.
Mental beliefs that like the left can't get past with me, or I can't necessarily get past with the left. So it'd be interesting if we get to have some of these conversations, but yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to.
Please tell me you have a principal reason for voting for Trump.
In the conversation that I had with, when Hutch was on Wick's panel, that I'm a winnable voter, and I do view myself that way, especially because, you know, in many ways Trump was a sort of a protest vote for me, and I could see myself voting left, even if just to try to swing the pendulum back in a similar vein.
She's currently live on Wick. It matters not, okay?
Of what I did in 2024. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a divide about strategy among the left. And so I don't know that going for people like me is the best move for the Democratic Party, but I'm concerned with like broader cultural trends. And so I see the sort of like fringe horseshoe people that are coalescing on a bunch of these, like, foreign policy things and sort of populist things as more concerning. And I like suddenly see myself as like an establishment cuck. So I want the moderates and the sane people of both sides to come out on top.
Not during Pride Month. Not during my fucking Pride Month, okay? I swear to fucking God. Not during my fucking Pride Month. I can't hear her? Too fucking bad, okay?
But I don't think those people are going to actually work together. I think those people represent the Democrats and the Republicans in ways that the fringes on the left and the right, their votes are kind of more up for grabs. So I don't know. I hope that made sense.
Well, Hutch, why don't you take it away, buddy, in response to that?
I think a fair point to start the conversation is to ask you two questions.
Her.
So the first question I want to ask you is, why did you vote for Trump? And that's kind of a two-parter. Were you attracted to some of his policies? If you were, which policies were they? Or were you more repelled by Democrats? And if so, what were some of the things that repelled you away? And then the second question that we need to establish is, do you regret that vote?
So to answer your first question, I had decided.
I'm fucking tweaking off of hatred right now.
So my ideological
the hatred is moving me.
Summer of 2021.
I'm getting tweaked.
So it's been several years
my hatred is tweaking me.
Moving away from the left. I had decided at a certain point that I wasn't going to be voting for the Democrats. I mean, at that point, Joe Biden was still running. I was very concerned about his cognitive decline for a while, as many people were. I'm not saying anything anyone here doesn't know.
Not Josiah.
Okay. Well, so
why?
I had basically decided that I wasn't voting.
You said
for
you
the
wanted to have a
Democrats.
pleasant conversation, so I just made it a lot easier. Yeah, let me get his ass back in here. Yeah.
So I was like hopeful. I think it must have been like New Year's Eve going into 2024. I remember thinking like,
why are you so upset? Yeah, I'm upset as someone voting for Trump, much less a viewer of mine. Yeah, of course I'm going to be upset. What the fuck? I expect better of my viewers. Or I expect better of everyone, okay? To not Okay, that's enough. Okay.
Nikki Haley might have a chance here. I was hoping that's who I could end up voting for.
I'm
Coming
sorry to
to
interrupt,
vote,
but I'm curious,
Let me
like the
be upset.
timeline. I was kind of
Okay.
confused. You said summer of 2021. Did you
Mhm.
misspeak? Because that was
No.
after, just a couple months after Biden was inaugurated. Is that what you're talking about?
Mental level, you
Yes.
said you were
Okay,
very
okay.
upset.
yes,
Uh,
I voted.
Wait, yeah. Can I be upset at someone who voted for Trump? Yeah, of course I'm gonna be upset. What the fuck? Such an obvious thing.
I voted for Biden in 2020.
Okay, by that
Yeah.
point, summer 2021, we had successfully passed the AARP, which if you were historically liberal, then I assume you really like that policy, right? But also we had the Delta strain of the coronavirus and then his pullout from Afghanistan. So like what radicalized you against
That
the
was
Democratic
that was
Party?
late. That was late summer. That was September.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we had, the vaccine rollout, which was wildly successful. The economy was opening back up. Was there something, I guess, to Hutch's point, something in particular that the Biden administration did which really rubbed you the wrong way?
Yeah, what
No,
they
and I
do.
was pushed away first from the left, like my left wing spaces before I let go
Like
of
radically
the
so?
Democrat title. So the starting point for this was the last kind of
he
war
move the clothes yet?
clash between Israel and Gaza, which happened in May 2021. And at that point, I was an activist, like not full time. I was working, but I was protesting in most of my free time. So this was like a year out from summer of 2020, and I was still protesting a couple days a week. There was a local BLM chapter, a local Refuse Fascism chapter, a firm, which is like a
Was she like a lefty who voted for Trump because accelerationist reasons? Please don't tell me this is the case. If this is the case, worst person imaginable. Like literally one of the worst people imaginable. I can't. I can't do it. If this turns out to be, I can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I just
radical
can't.
feminist
It's not possible. I
organization.
wouldn't be able to handle it.
And
It would be so overdue.
basically, suddenly the protest that I was going to started carrying like Zionism is racism signs, and people were personally asking me to condemn various things that were going on in Gaza. And it was the first time that I realized like these people that I shared a lot of values with and thought that I was aligned with, that it wasn't mutual. Basically, there was like one litmus test that if I didn't pass, that was really going to be it. And granted, I was in very extreme circles, obviously, if Zionism was already
Oh,
a
for
litmus
fuck's
test
sake.
4 years ago. But
Do
so
you have a personal tie to Israel in any way, or are you just like ideologically in support of them?
yeah, I mean, I have family there, friends there. I spent a little time living there in college.
I'm becoming anti-Semitic. This is it. This is it. I don't recognize this person. I'm taking away this person's Jew card, okay? I'm taking away this person's Jew card, okay? I'm taking away your fucking Jew card. Okay? This is not okay. This is not okay.
I see.
Yeah.
A clearer picture. Oh my god, that froze at the best time for you for a second. Econoboy was.
This is
Are
not
you guys seeing what I'm
principle.
saying?
This
I
is
am.
not
He's
principle.
glitching
This is
here.
the
He's
farthest thing
so
from being
furious, like
principled.
he is
Oh,
glitching.
no.
He's phasing in and out of this dimension into
It
the.
froze
hear
on
me?
him like this for a moment.
Yeah, we can hear you, but you
okay.
like temporarily glitched, such as your rage. I'm
so weird.
curious though, on that particular issue. Like, I'll just take everything you say at face value, but how would you tie that to the Democratic Party? Because I think most people would tell you that President Biden was the most openly and ideologically pro-Zionist president in American history by far, and that was what helped contribute to his low approval rating, and what would have probably doomed him had he stayed in the race. At least one of the factors is that it seemed like he was committed.
Yes, you didn't do enough research.
Giving Netanyahu
Yes.
a hand, no matter what. So
Yes,
if that was the
this is
deciding
all
factor,
true.
why would that play a role?
Okay, so that was not the deciding factor. I was just taking you guys back to the very beginning of my ideological journey, and it was a slow
Oh
one. This
my
took
god. Okay, so it's not okay. Great. So there's more stupidity to come. There's more stupidity to come. Then, so this wasn't the sole factor. So we're about to hear more stupid shit. Okay, all right, I got you.
several years.
Okay.
So again, it was
Oh
only about
my
a year
God.
ago. I didn't decide even that I was going to vote for Trump until pretty close to the election. I didn't know I had decided that I wasn't voting for Biden and then that I wasn't voting for Kamala. And again, we can sort of like get into
Why not vote for Biden? Like, at what point did you make your mind up that you were definitely not going to vote for President Biden after voting for him in 2020?
It's hard to put
My god, Tally, listen to me, okay? Just be honest and forthright with it, okay? Just be honest and forthright with it. You didn't vote for Biden because you were too lazy to do your research. You went off of vibes. Boom. I can tell. This thing is as clear as day to me, okay? I can tell when somebody voted for Trump because of vibes. This is a vibe vote. 100%, okay? This is a vibe vote. I have been around enough people. I have been around my MAGA landlord. I have been around every single facet of person to know that this is a vibe vote. 100%. This does not need a backstory. The fact that you even want to give us a backstory makes it feel kind of disingenuous, okay? Because again, if you're gonna say you're just being a moron and you went off of a vibe vote, I would actually respect you so fucking much. My penis would be obliterated and a vasectomy, vaginoplasty, would automatically transmute onto my very being, okay? But instead, I feel like I'm reversing back through puberty.
Give us like the top 5. Like, give us like the concise, like, what are the, if you had to boil it down to like 5 things that really repelled you, what would you say?
Sure. So I wasn't repelled necessarily and specifically from the Democratic Party. This is the answer that you guys all like stomped your feet about last time, that you're going to hate the answer, that it was a lot of vibes. And when I say vibes, I mean
At least she owns it, okay? You know what? My respect for her just went up. She owned it. She owned it at least. Okay. Cool, we're good.
culture. I mean, like what I'm seeing amongst people and the health of our society and things of this nature. So I was basically, I went on an ideological journey that sort of started with this sort of Israel stuff and me being a Zionist and being called a racist and all of these things, and realizing what I saw, that there was hypocrisy in the anti-racism sphere on the left. Okay. And this took me on a journey of different pillars of things that I sort of held dear.
Don't say journey. Don't say journey. You know, for the love of, just, if you said vibes, it's vibes.
Things like sexism, racism.
You can't have a journey when you voted on vibes. This is incongruent. It's not congruent. You can't have a journey. Journey leads to principles, okay? Journey leads to a re-establishing of all your fundamental pillars. When you go on a journey to change your pillars, you don't in the end vote based on vibes. You vote based on principles. Principles, okay? You can't say vibes and then said you went on a bloody journey, mate.
Gender stuff, all of these things that I started to tackle and open my mind to.
Oh no.
This is a hard thing to narrate, right? Because it's so easy to like cling on to one thing and say, so why did that one thing push you away? But my ecosystem of who I was listening to and what I was listening to changed, right? And so I stopped watching MSNBC and CNN, and I was listening more to podcasts, and not right-wing people. I was listening to like heterodox liberals, basically, like liberals who were saying things that were a little bit outside the norm on wokeism and stuff like that. So people like Jesse Singal and Katie Herzog, and these gentlemen aren't necessarily liberals, but sort of libertarians like Michael Moynihan and Camille Foster and Matt Welch.
Oh wait, I just zoomed in. I know this person from synagogue. A bit of a joke. Also, you don't even go to synagogue, okay? You're one of these little feckless. You're a feckless, non-religious Jew, which means you're just pretty much not a Jew in all practicality.
Before you go on any further, can we get the chat to just? Can we get you guys
I'm
to
not
chill
even looking.
Okay, can we get you guys to just chill the fuck out though? Like, it's fine if you disagree with people, but Jesus fucking Christ. But all right,
no,
go
let
ahead.
them rage.
I have a comment.
Let them rage.
Go ahead.
They feel me.
No, yeah,
they
wait,
know
you
me.
were gonna say
They
something there, Wick?
identify with
Oh.
me.
I'll let her finish, and then we'll get into it. The comment will hate.
I am the
Pete,
chat. I am a
It just-
person.
this
I
is
am
a
a
good example.
slopper.
of what I feel.
Good catch. Yeah, I
Go
know.
Maybe
I
I'll just try
agree,
to.
for the record.
I'll try to.
Okay, you do look like a Jew. So I'll give you that part at least. Okay, so you look like a Jew. That's about it, really.
Sum it up, and you guys can ask me lots of little questions, because otherwise this narrative could take a really long time.
Sure.
The one thing that I think Tim Pool gets right, is that in our modern sort of political ecosphere, what determines whether you are on the left or on the right is what you believe to be true about the world. So if you guys recall in his conversation with Kaya, she was saying like a center liberal, maybe kind of edgy for a left-wing person to say things, and he was like, oh, you're right-wing, you're conservative, and she pushed back vociferously against that, which is, I used to push back against that for a long time too, until I realized it's not fair for me to push back because I actually do think different from these people, right? But basically there's like fundamental things that I believe to be true now that I didn't before, or vice versa.
What is
things
the role
like
of, sorry, go
What
ahead.
what are some of those fundamental things?
By the way, okay, so the problem I see here, and maybe she'll elaborate on this like further, but I don't see her saying that she regrets voting for Trump. Am I wrong here? I just, she's not, like, she hasn't said so far that she regrets voting for Trump.
So
I feel like I could guess a few. Like, when did
Go
you
for
cringe
it.
did you cringe when you heard
I don't
people
know
say
if she's
that you
changed.
can't be racist against white people? Is that like maybe one of the things?
yes, but again,
Okay.
I can't emphasize enough, after years of saying that myself, after saying that you can't be racist against white people. And so these were things that I believed for a long time. But yes, I took a lot of issue with what I saw as racism in the anti-racism movement. I was listening to people like John McWhorter.
Hey, Kat, just let me be sexist, okay? I am heavily biased against women, okay? Just let me be heavily biased against women, okay? Just let me be heavily biased against women, all right? Because I'm a femcel, that's why. Okay. Cool.
And Coleman Hughes, people who were pushing for like a colorblind
If this was
approach
Richard
to
Hanania, I wouldn't be
racism
mean
in
to him,
America.
because he's a man.
You should probably steer away from
I-
Coleman Hughes, just for the record. He gets really basic facts wrong. Like, he tried to claim that Martin Luther King did not advocate for reparations, and he confidently said that when he was on The View, and he could not be more wrong. Like, there are so many explicit quotes of him calling for that. So I just want to
Uh-oh.
try to steer you away from him. He seems a bit silly.
I
Oh
think
my god.
he's really.
Oh my god, horny liberal men and trying to steer a Trump voter away. Oh my god, kill me. This is why I hate men. Okay, the only reason I hate men is because they simp after women.
Thoughtful. I remember that interview. I don't remember him saying that specific thing. If he got that wrong, that is a big thing. But he
He did. And it was
Stop voting with your
shockingly wrong.
penis.
Like, anybody in the chat,
Yeah.
just look up. Did Martin Luther King advocate for reparations? There are dozens of quotes of him calling for it.
Are you saying she didn't Google search?
Okay, so
Uh-oh.
an example is that you can't be racist against white people, and you find that cringe. I'm just trying to tie
So-
that to the inevitable vote.
No, she wasn't vague. Okay, she literally said she voted based on vibes. You don't really need any more detail beyond that. If you said you voted based on vibes, I'm not really expecting any nuance. Okay, like that's it.
voting decision.
voted based
Obviously, we
on
have to give more
vibes,
context.
which
So
is
let's
extremely
get some
silly.
more accountable. You had some questions for her as well.
Not really any questions. I mean, obviously, I disagree with the line of thought really that she has, but I mean, of course, that's the case. We voted differently, but in general, like Josiah said, right? So tie that into actually voting for Trump in 2024. Like, what was the hope? Like, what was the hope that essentially, like, what did you hope to accomplish by doing
King
that?
shame. Shut up.
And do you think that over the last 6 months that has in some way been accomplished, or kind of walk us through that?
So, I mean, as I stated earlier, I part of this was a sort of protest vote to a certain extent. I live
Protest
in
vote is crazy. Stop.
very blue state. My state has only
No.
gone red twice ever in the
No, not the
presidential election.
contrarian.
That was
Not
for
the
Nixon and the
contrarian.
second Reagan term.
Ah,
So I
it's
knew
too
there
much
was
for
a
me to
very
bear.
good chance that my vote was not going to influence the outcome of
Stop. That's not a fucking excuse either. Okay, like fuck me, dude.
the election. And if my state flipped, then well, I wouldn't be the only person held responsible, obviously.
I'm still
in that
salty
case.
at my landlord for
Um,
being MAGA. Okay, shit, and we live in California.
Am I thrilled with what I've seen over the last 6 months? No. No.
Is it what
I
you
see,
expected?
I didn't.
What
I don't
post?
really
What?
know what I expected.
I'm
No, it's
angry.
not what I expected, but I
Careful.
didn't have very high expectations either. What I saw was
Who's the protester? I don't know. I'm just gonna go off on a limb and say she probably she was probably protesting against men and women's sports or some shit, because that's like most people's reasoning these days. I'm not joking. Like 90% of the time when they say it's a protest vote, it's either because like I don't think it's like necessarily like Palestinian related, whatever. It's like literally men and women's sports tier shit. Anyway.
essentially a coalition of people, some people who shared like some of my views, and what I saw as like a sort of a larger movement that I could see.
Wait, I want to put it like this. If you don't care about Republicans in California, just know this, okay? Don't come bitching about me. Don't come bitching like about like, oh, you're like Republicans spreading so much propaganda on social media, because I promise you a lot of propaganda and a lot of the ways that like pro-right messaging spreads on social media is because of Republicans in California, okay? People who live in LA, who are Republican, who have the resources to actually access, I don't know, podcasting and all that stuff, who influences the vote all that much in other like places, right? I'm sorry. It's just the reality that yes, it's all influenced. Yes.
myself in. It
Yeah.
didn't seem to be like the same.
Like a vote is a direct effect, but there is obviously downstream effects of having so many Republicans in like a single state, right? Yes. So that's why you should still care.
Republican Party
Yeah.
that it had been. There were, autistic, transhumanist, socially liberal people, business
my
people all
God.
coalescing around with more traditional conservatives and, evangelicals and things of this nature. And yeah, I mean,
For specific examples, I'm curious, did you like RFK Jr. or Tulsi Gabbard?
Stop. I can ask better questions. Okay? I can ask better questions. Let me in. Okay, this thing is already over, okay? But I am so angry.
Like, were those people that, they were not part of the conventional Republican coalition? They backed Trump. They have high-ranking positions.
Bro, I have a lot of respect for people who have voted Republican their entire fucking lives, okay? Because at least it's consistent, okay? I'm sorry. That's just what I think.
In Trump's
right?
administration,
Fuck
are
me,
those
dude.
like kind of like North Stars you look to, that this was a heterodox movement, and so you had more confidence in it?
No, and those are figures that people in that sort of heterodox space like, but no, I never really liked Tulsi. There are a lot of people in the heterodox space who seem to have like formed personal relationships with her and say very nice things about her personally, but I never really grew an admiration for her. Same with RFK. I mean, no, I was never a supporter of RFK Jr. I was surprised though, because there were a lot of people who I thought were like reasonable people just in my life or in my online circles and stuff who were supporting him. But no,
to help us out, because obviously we don't know the people in your personal life. Is there anybody that we might know online or whatever reputationally that like was sympathetic to Trump or supported Trump, and so you would like refer to them like, okay, like this creates a permission structure for me to walk away from the Democrats and vote for Trump, like Dave Smith? Like I'm just trying to get some like contextual markers here to help us navigate this.
Yeah, Dave Smith, I see as like my polar opposite politically, and polar opposite of
Why?
yeah. That's the Dave Smith represents a
Oh.
movement that
I know why. Because Dave Smith is like apologizes for Hitler and he is pro-Palestine. That's why. Because he's staunchly pro-Palestine. That's why. Okay? It isn't because he's like a centrist conservative. I'm so good at telling people now. I'm just so good at telling. I'm sorry. I'm so good at this now. Like I'm a professional. Okay? I'm a professional when it comes to reading people now. Fuck me, dude. I know exactly where people's opinions come from. I know exactly why they think this way. I know exactly everything. Just literally everything. Okay? Yep. It makes total sense now.
I'm
okay.
concerned about. Not just his movement. There are several movements that I'm concerned about across the right and the left. But no. So honestly, a lot of the sort of
I mean,
influencer people
ask Professor
that
Abby.
I
Does he support Dave Smith? Probably not. Why?
didn't vote for
about it.
Trump. So some of them basically, you know, they were also disaffected with the left, and I know some of them did. I know some of them held their nose voting for Kamala. That's how they felt about it, in the same way that I sort of held my nose voting for Trump the person, because he's someone that I mean, really detested for a long time. I was also
I'm pretty sure she's Israeli. Yeah, if you're an Israeli Jew, okay, and you voted for Trump, all right, and yeah, fuck. I mean, like, fuck. I would even tell her to her face that, yeah, why don't you just go and live in Israel then? Like, fuck. Like, this is the same. Just because I'm saying it on stream doesn't mean I'm not like afraid to say it to someone's face. Okay, like, fuck. If you voted for Trump because you care so much about Israel, why not just go and live in Israel? Like, fuck. It's like everything. Everything is just so much better. You're probably right wing too, so you probably would like the Likud party. Like, fuck. Get out of here.
really desensitized.
Go away. Stop ruining Jewtown. Stop ruining Brooklyn. Stop ruining Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. Okay, fuck.
To all of the messaging about Trump.